In this video, we're going to take a look at special products. For number 1, it wants us to multiply and simplify. Assume all variables represent positive real numbers. In A, we have 4 times the square root of 5x, all squared. And the first thing it wants us to do is apply the exponent rule that a times b, all raised to the n, is equal to a raised to the n times b raised to the n. So we're going to rewrite this as 4 squared times the square root of 5x squared, and now we want to simplify. And 4 squared is equal to 16, and the square root of 5x squared is equal to 5x, so times 5x, and 16 times 5 is equal to 90, so this is equal to 90x. In B, we have 4 minus the square root of 5x squared, and they ask us, how is this expression different from part A? And it's different from part A because of the subtraction sign. So we're going to have to FOIL this to square it instead because of this negative sign here. So it wants us to rewrite the problem. So we have 4 minus the square root of 5x times 4 minus the square root of 5x. And now we want to FOIL it. So we have 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times negative square root of 5x is negative 4 square root of 5x. And we have negative square root of 5x times 4 again is minus 4 square root of 5x. And then we have negative square root of 5x times negative square root of 5x, which is positive. And we have square root of 5x times itself gives us 5x. And when we simplify, we can combine our like terms, and we have negative 4 times the square root of 5x minus 4 times the square root of 5x. So we have 16 minus 8 square root of 5x plus 5x. In C, we have 4 minus the square root of 5x times 4 plus the square root of 5x. And it asks, how is this expression different from part B? And the signs are different. In between the terms in our first product, we have a minus sign, and in between the terms of our second product, we have a plus sign. So it wants us to multiply them out first. So we have 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times the square root of 5x is 4 square root of 5x. And then we have negative square root of 5x times 4 is minus 4 times the square root of 5x. And now we have negative square root of 5x times positive square root of 5x gives us minus 5x. And when we simplify, you can see that our center terms are going to cancel each other out. We have positive 4 square root of 5x and negative 4 square root of 5x. So we're left with 16 minus 5x. And it asks us what happened to the middle term, and they canceled out. And now they give us special products of binomials. A perfect square trinomial is when we have a plus b squared is equal to a plus b times a plus b is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And the difference of two squares, a plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. And then it says the factors a plus b and a minus b are conjugates. They have the same terms but opposite signs. In 2, it says perform the multiplication and simplify. Assume all variables represent positive real numbers. In A, we have 4 minus the square root of 5x times 4 plus the square root of 5x. And then it asks what type of special product we have, and we have the difference of two squares, so DTS. And now it wants to know the formula. So our formula from above was A plus B times A minus B is equal to A squared minus B squared. And now it wants us to define A and B. So A is equal to 4 and B is equal to square root of 5x. And now it says apply the special product. So we have 4 minus the square root of 5x times 4 plus the square root of 5x. And that's going to be equal to 4 squared minus the square root of 5x squared. And we can write that as 16 minus 5x. In B, we have 4 minus the square root of 5x all squared, and it wants us to state the type of special product, and this is a perfect square trinomial, or PST, and the formula is A minus B squared is equal to A squared minus 2AB plus B squared. And now it wants us to define A and B. And A is equal to 4. B is equal to the square root of 5x. And now it wants us to apply the special product. So we have 4 minus the square root of 5x squared, and that is equal to 4 squared minus 2 times A times B plus B squared, or the square root of 5x squared. And we can simplify that as 16 minus 8 times the square root of 5x plus 5x. In B, we have the square root of 3x plus 4 square root of y, all squared, and it wants us to state the type of special product, and that's the perfect square trinomial. The formula is going to be A plus B squared is equal to A squared plus 2AB plus B squared, and A is equal to the square root of 3x, and B is equal to 4 square root y. And now it wants us to apply the special rule. So the square root of 3x plus 4 square root of y squared is equal to the square root of 3x squared plus 2 times a, which is the square root of 3x, times 4 square root of y plus 4 square root of y squared. And we can simplify that. The square root of 3x squared is equal to 3x. We have 2 times 4 is equal to 8 times the square root of 3xy. We can combine our radicals, plus 4 squared is equal to 16, and the square root of y squared is equal to y. In 3, we have the square root of 2 plus 4 minus the square root of 5x times the square root of 2 minus 4 minus the square root of 5x. And it wants to know what type of special product we have. And we have the difference of two squares. And it wants to know the formula. A plus B times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared, and a is defined as the square root of 2, and b is defined as 4 minus the square root of 5x. And now it wants us to apply the special product. So we have the square root of 2 plus 4 minus the square root of 5x times the square root of 2 minus 4 minus the square root of 5x, and that is equal to the square root of 2 squared minus 4 minus the square root of 5x squared. And now it wants us to simplify each term, use the result from example 2b to simplify the second term. So we have the square root of 2 squared is equal to 2 minus, now it wants us to use example 2b because we've already done 4 minus the square root of 5x. So if we go back to 2b, we can see that 4 minus the square root of 5x squared is equal to 16 minus 8 square root of 5x plus 5x. So I'm going to write that in. And now we need to distribute our negative and combine like terms. So we have 2 minus 16 plus 8 square root of 5x minus 5x, and 2 minus 16 is equal to negative 14. So we have negative 14 plus 8 square root of 5x minus 5x. And in problem 4, it says problem 3 can be done first by eliminating the parentheses to obtain the square root of 2 plus 4 minus the square root of 5x times the square root of 2 minus 4 plus the square root of 5x. And it says perform the multiplication and compare your answers. So we're going to FOIL this out, and we have the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. And then we have the square root of 2 times negative 4 is negative 4 square root of 2. And the square root of 2 times the square root of 5x is the square root of 10x plus 4 times the square root of 2 is 4 square root of 2. And then we have 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. And then we have 4 times the square root of 5x gives us 4 square root of 5x. And now we have negative square root of 5x times the square root of 2 is negative square root of 10x. And we have negative square root of 5x times negative 4 is plus 4 square root of 5x. And we have negative square root of 5x times positive square root of 5x gives us negative square root of 25x squared. And now we want to simplify. So we have the square root of 4 is 2 minus 4 square root of 2 plus the square root of 10x plus 4 square root of 2 minus 16 plus 4 square root of 5x minus the square root of 10x plus 4 square root of 5x, and the square root of 25x squared can be written as 5x, so minus 5x. And now some of these terms are going to cancel each other out, and we have negative 4 square root of 2 cancels with positive 4 square root of 2, and we have square root of 10x is going to cancel with negative square root of 10x. And now let's rewrite everything that's remaining. So we have 2 minus 16 plus 4 square root 5x plus 4 square root of 5x minus 5x. And now when we combine like terms, we have 2 minus 16 is negative 14. 4 square root of 5x plus 4 square root of 5x is 8 square root of 5x minus 5x. So you can see we got the same answer as we did in 3. It's just a little more work to multiply it all out using the FOIL method instead of using the difference of two squares to answer it. And that's our video on special products.